How's it going, everybody? The PlayStation Store is running a batch of new deals right now. Extended play sale, games under $20 sale, a lot of good deals across the two sales. Want to highlight games under the price of $5. Got quite a bit of titles to go over, so let's get right into it. And let's start things off with Mad Max, which is 75% off for $4.99. You know, if you go into Mad Max expecting a decent open world game, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what you get out of it. This game had the unfortunate fate of being released on September 1st of 2015. That date probably doesn't ring a bell to a lot of you guys. However, that is the day that Metal Gear Solid 5 also came out. So, you know, two open world titles like that going head to head, what game do you think most people were picking? Yeah, Mad Max kind of got the short end of the stick, but it ended up being a really solid game that also ran very well. I thought the combat was good. Story picked up by the end. Unfortunately, we'll probably never get a follow-up to this game, which that's always a little bit of a bummer, but still, what you get for $4.99 here, I think, is pretty solid for Mad Max. Next up, we have Batman Arkham Knight, 80% off for $3.99. Obviously, if you haven't played the Batman Arkham games, I would recommend you to wait on the Batman Arkham collection to go on sale, but for whatever reason, if you just want to pick up Arkham Knight, the base game, $3.99 is obviously a really good price for it. Arkham Knight is a fantastic open-world action title, and while in my opinion it's my least favorite of the three Arkham games, that's also like, that doesn't really say much given the Arkham games are all at such a high level, and I've heard people make the argument that Arkham Knight is their favorite. The general shortcoming of Arkham Knight for a lot of people is the Batmobile sections. I didn't even hate those sections as much as a lot of people, but a lot of people detested those elements, but overall, Arkham Knight is a really solid game that took the formula that Arkham Asylum and Arkham City set forth before it and just kind of built upon it and turned out to be really, really good in that regard. Arkham Knight is also a game that's north of 8 years old at this point, which is just insane to think about, but that is the reality. And it still holds up so amazingly well from a visual standpoint. I saw comparisons of Arkham Knight and Gotham Knights being made, and Gotham Knights obviously came out last year, and Arkham Knight, let's just say it looks pretty darn good, even next a game that came out in 2022, so kind of funny how those things go, but $3.99 for Arkham Knight, great price there. Next up, we have Sea of Solitude from EA, which is 75% off for $4.99. Now, the issue with this game is it's very, very short, but when you're only spending $5, I don't think that's really an issue. This game is gorgeous from a visual standpoint and tackles a lot of, you know, mature themes, depressive themes as well, so just be mindful of that. Again, it is a super short game. You can probably complete it in around like 3.5, 4 hours, maybe a little bit longer if you take your time, but it's a game that went really under the radar, and I think a lot of you guys will end up actually, maybe not completely immersed into the game, but I felt like the game did have a lot of engrossing elements to it. So if you want something that's more of an evocative single-player game, I think Sea of Solitude will end up surprising you. For $5, I think it's a good price. Next up, we have Rayman Legends, $3.99, 80% off. This is a game that I constantly go to bat for. It's unfortunate that Rayman as an IP hasn't really been utilized more by Ubisoft, just because I think the potential is here for Rayman to really deliver a lot of high-quality games, and we saw that with Rayman Legends. But, you know, less of Rayman, more of live service, am I right, guys? But, yeah, great platformer here, has a little bit of challenge to it, but also very accessible to a wide array of people. If you're into platformers at all, or you just want a game that is, you know, a fun time, for $4, Rayman Legends is one of the best deals that you're going to come across, and you should definitely go check it out. Next up, we have a pair of titles, Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition, and then Guacamelee 2. These are a pair of Metroidvania games that go really under the radar. It's just the state of the Metroidvania genre. Look, you're going to have your Dead Cells, your Hollow Knights of the world that do exceedingly well. However, the genre is jam-packed with top-level titles that even games that are as good as Guacamelee, unfortunately, they're gonna go under the radar just because, for whatever reason, they don't click. But these games are charming as all hell. You play as this luchador doing wild suplexes. It's a good time. Guacamelee is a really, really good time, and I would say for $3.74 for Guacamelee 1, $4.99 for Guacamelee 2, if you want a more charming Metroidvania, it's a really good one with a little bit of a comedic undertone. Next up, absolutely the polar opposite of a comedic undertone, This War of Mine, The Little Ones, 90% off for $1.99. A really, really engrossing game in terms of setting and offering you a realistic and more of a darker look at the harsh realities of war. I mean, when you get a lot of war games that are, you know, having you at the helm of a super-powered soldier, and that's what's gonna click with a large audience of people. This War of Mine is more about the survival aspects and the grim, dark nature that is war. It's a realistic experience inspired by real-life events, emotionally reactive as well. For $1.99, this is great, and 11-Bit Studios has done a great job in creating these games that just really emotionally make you feel a certain type of way. They also did Frostpunk. They're working on Frostpunk 2 right now, but this War of Mine for $1.99, this is really a no-brainer. I mean, definitely don't play this game if you're emotionally going through some stuff. Like, let's just say you're going through like an emotional down in your life, and you're like, let's play this War of Mine. I'm sure that'll bring up my spirits. Like, yeah, bro, no, go play Guacamelee or Rayman if that's how you're feeling. But it is an engrossing game that I recommend everybody at least give a shot to. Next up, we have Castlevania Anniversary Collection, 75% off for $4.99. Want to give this a shout just because of all the content you're getting here. Castlevania, Simon's Quest, Dracula's Curse, Super Castlevania 4, Castlevania The Adventure, Belmont's Revenge, Castlevania Bloodline, Kid Dracula, and History of Castlevania Book of the Crescent Moon. This was released as a part of the Konami 50th anniversary celebration. You know, these collections for a top-level price are usually, like, they're fine, but when you can get them on sale, that's really when you get a lot of value out of them. $4.99 for this one is pretty good. Playdead's Limbo and Inside are both on sale. Limbo is $2.49, Inside is $4.99. Both games are worthwhile to get. There is a Limbo and Inside bundle for $6.74, so that'll end up saving you 75 cents. Look at me doing my second grade level math. But Limbo is available on Plus Premium, Inside on Plus Extra. However, Limbo will be delisted on October the 17th, as will Inside, so now would be a good time to pick up both of these games. Darker tones to both of these games as well, but really, really interesting platformers, and very curious what Playdead's been up to, because Inside came out, I want to say, in 2015, 2016, and obviously they do take a long time between games, but man, it's been a while since we've heard anything from them. I believe they dropped some, like, you know, advertising imagery for their next game, but it's been a while since we've heard anything. But try out Limbo, try out Inside. Inside's the one that I feel like not a lot of people have played. Like, I feel like everybody's played Limbo, but if you haven't, I mean, that game came out in, like, 08, so maybe there's a large portion of you that haven't played that either. Check out both of them. They're going to be worthwhile experiences. Next up, Dishonored Definitive Edition, 75% off for $4.99. I'm surprised that there's this amount of people that didn't enjoy Dishonored that much, and I understand the game isn't perfect in every area, but I thought it was a really compelling stealth action title that you could play in a myriad of different ways. You could either go, you know, super fast-paced action heavy, or you could take the more silent stealth approach. Now, that latter silent stealth approach is the more rewarding way to play the game for sure, but you know, you can do it however you want. I thought Dishonored 1 was great. This includes the DLC content as well, which is nice, and Dishonored 2 is excellent. It looks like Dishonored 3 is in development, but, you know, with that Bethesda acquisition going through, I wouldn't get your hopes up that Dishonored 3 will be on PlayStation, which is a really big bummer if you're a PlayStation-only guy, but what can you do? Next up, Darksiders Warmastered Edition, 75% off for $4.99. This game, I want to say, Darksiders 1 came out back in January of 2010, and I say that, and I remember that just because I want to say it came out the same day as Bayonetta. Don't quote me on that, but think about that. Bayonetta and Darksiders coming out at that's a good day, a good way to start the year, because I think it was early January as well. I remember being like a teenager when these games were coming out. Nonetheless, I remember also a big talking point was with Darksiders when it was coming out was it was Legend of Zelda and God of War mixed together, which that's always a bad thing when a game has that, because that's just crazy expectations for a new IP that are never going to be reached, or at least very rarely going to be reached. I can see why that comparison was made. However, Darksiders certainly isn't at the level of those aforementioned IPs. It's a good game for sure. Interesting story. Gameplay is good. Has some puzzles as well. For $5, I think it's a good buy, and I would give it a shout. It's not a franchise that gets a lot of love these days, but I still thought Darksiders 1 was a solid game. And Darksiders 2 wasn't bad either. Darksiders 3 was not so great, but what can you do? Can't hit a home run every time. Darksiders Genesis, on the other hand, that was decent as well. Next up, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, 75% off for $4.99. Look, I recommend this game whenever it's on sale. You guys already know the deal. If you haven't played Tomb Raider 2013, what are you doing? Go play the game. It's fantastic. It really reignited Tomb Raider as an IP for me, and I was never a big Tomb Raider guy, but with Tomb Raider 2013 and then ROTR, SOTR, this is legitimately one of my favorite franchises going, and hopefully we get another Tomb Raider game here soon, but probably still a year or two out for that. Lastly, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, 80% off for $3.99. Now, when this game was announced, everybody was super excited because there was this cult following for Mirror's Edge 08 that, you know, that game getting a follow-up title was really exciting. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, I feel like, didn't live up to a lot of our expectations, but I still thought it was a decent game. Was it a $60 game? No, but at $3.99, you're still getting some good platforming elements. The visuals in this game, I think, are super underrated. This game is a really, really visually appealing, and there's still some solid gameplay elements, but yeah, Mirror's Edge 2008, still one of those games we need a remaster of, which is unfortunate that hasn't happened, but what can you do? $3.99 for Catalyst, on the other hand, is great. But that'll do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals under the price of $5 right now. Obviously, you'll see the regular spiel from us in terms of future videos on these sales. Under 10 is coming and all that good stuff. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.